If you've ever asked yourself, what's wrong with me? Because it feels like no one truly gets you, this is for you. There's a kind of loneliness that doesn't look like solitude. It looks like smiling when you're supposed to. It looks like scrolling nonstop at 2 a.m. It looks like being surrounded and still feeling invisible. You catch yourself wondering, is it just me? Why do I feel so out of place everywhere? Does everyone else know something that I don't? They laugh louder, they move faster, they glow brighter, and you begin to believe that maybe you're the only one who feels this way. But you're not, and you never were. It's time that someone said that out loud. Social media promised connection, but what it really created was performance anxiety. You open your phone and you see perfect vacations, curated friendships, morning routines with matcha and crystal clarity, and it convinces you that you're the only one surviving life instead of thriving in it. FOMO isn't just missing out. It's a feeling like you're missing something fundamental, a sense of belonging, of ease, of joy. It's comparing your rough draft to someone else's final edit, and suddenly, your own life feels unworthy. Not because it is, but because the algorithm doesn't reward honesty. It rewards illusion. You start living life like a pitch deck. Would this look good on my story? Should I post this to prove that I'm okay? Will they think I'm falling behind? That feeling of being behind, that quiet ache of not enough, it's not yours. It's been planted in you. That isn't your fault. But that pressure, it's real. And it's stealing your self-worth one curated moment at a time. It's time to reclaim the real. Even when you're surrounded by voices, you can feel voiceless yourself. And when no one else sees your full self, not the version you post, but the one you cry with, you start mistaking invisibility for unworthiness. But that's not the truth. It's just a symptom of being in a world that rewards appearances over presence. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the mirror. Not the one on your wall, but the one made of filtered selfies, weight loss trends, gym culture, what I eat in a day vlogs, and face-altering apps you didn't even realize that you were using to survive. You stop seeing yourself as a body, and you start seeing a project, something to fix, sculpt, control. You count your calories before your joy. You measure your progress in inches, likes, and how photogenic your posts are. You look at yourself like a product, fixable, moldable, marketable. Eventually, you begin to forget that bodies aren't supposed to be validated by others. They're supposed to be inhabited by you. And all the while, the world tells you, you'll be loved once you're smaller. But that's not love, that's erasure. Body dysmorphia isn't attention-seeking. It's a trauma response to a culture that taught you that being seen is conditional. And eating disorders, they're not just starvation. Sometimes they look like obsession, restriction, overcorrection. Sometimes they look like disappearing into wellness culture and calling it discipline. But in reality, that's just discipline masquerading as self-destruction. But it all stems from one thing. You just want to be loved enough to stop shrinking. The love that you've been waiting for begins with yourself, and you're allowed to struggle with learning how. We like to pretend that words don't hurt online. Just block them. Don't read the comments. Ignore the trolls. But let's be honest. Those words, those petty attacks and anonymous cuts, they burrow deep. Even if they're not true, they leave scars anyway. You start second-guessing yourself before you even speak. You shrink in advance, just in case. Online harassment isn't just digital. It becomes part of your wiring, your sleep, your silence. You start second-guessing your truth before it's even spoken. Will they tear me apart? Am I allowed to exist this loudly? Should I make myself smaller just to stay safe? And before you realize it, the internet becomes another place that you're performing and not existing. Even when the hate dies down, the echo remains. Here's what no one says enough, though. You weren't weak for being hurt. You are being human. And healing those wounds means telling the truth about them. Start there. It's enough. Between trying to look okay, sound okay, succeed publicly, heal privately, and stay marketable, you lose something. You lose the safety to just be human. Let's talk about productivity. Let's talk about how we got here. You wake up in the morning and you feel like you're already behind. Not because you're lazy, but because the world is designed to keep you chasing. Everywhere you look, someone's achieving. They're launching, they're scaling, they're monetizing. And your worth starts to feel like a race. Your rest starts to feel like failure. Your identity becomes productivity, masked as your ambition. But that's not ambition. That's burnout with a prettier name. And when it finally hits, it doesn't look like collapse. It looks like resentment, disconnection, a slow loss of joy. You stop feeling like your life matters because you're too tired to imagine that it could. Here's your permission slip. You don't exist to perform for survival. You exist to build a life that feels like yours. That isn't laziness, that's liberation. You used to dream openly. Love, a home, a life of freedom, travel. But now you dream in disclaimers. If the economy doesn't collapse, if the rent doesn't swallow me whole, if the world isn't burning by then. Every effort you make feels like a coin toss. Every plan feels risky. You don't know if your effort will meet opportunity or just more anxiety. And slowly, over time, you start to ask yourself, what's the point anymore? But listen, dreaming in ruins is still dreaming. And each time that you imagine something better, you're resisting the collapse. That's a kind of protest in a world that keeps telling you not to bother. And it's one that they can't take from you. In the past few years, something shifted. Not just in society, but in our wiring. After the silence of lockdowns, the absence of touch, the months of digital-only connection, something in you became cautious, and connections changed. Now, small talk feels exhausting. Eye contact feels like too much. Group chats feel like performance art. You crave connection, but can't quite re-enter it. Social isolation isn't just being alone. It's being disconnected in plain sight. It's wondering why relationships feel hollow, why everyone seems busier, why vulnerability feels like a risk instead of a birthright. And you wonder, was I always like this? Or did the world rewire me? The answer? Both. And that's okay. What you're experiencing is the aftermath of emotional scarcity. And it doesn't mean you're incapable of connection, only that you've gone too long without the kind that feeds you. Let that hunger guide you, not towards desperation, but towards choice. You get to choose how you connect, who you trust, and what intimacy feels like now. Connection is still possible, but now you get to choose who, how, and where it lives. You are not the only one crying before work. You're not the only one who feels invisible in friend groups. Not the only one hiding their pain behind memes and reels. Not the only one checking their phone for connection and just leaving emptier than before. If no one said this to you lately, you are not broken. You're reacting to a broken culture. One that demands too much and gives too little. That's not weakness. That's truth. That's a compass that's trying to pull you back to your center. It's the part of you trying to return home. And yes, you may feel like you're the only one, but this right here, this reflection, it's proof that someone sees you. Someone hears your ache. Someone knows exactly what it feels like to believe that you're alone in a crowded world. And if you feel like you're all on your own, remember this. You're not, and you never were. And tomorrow, we go deeper, together, into the world that told you to give up, and the fire you get to reclaim anyways. Let's keep going. Let's not end it here.